Welcome back. Uh, let's go into the next lecture, which is a continuation of the regulatory framework and the various regulatory authorities which are available within the country. We have already discussed about the, the Securities Exchange Board of India and Insurance Regulatory Development Authority in the previous lecture. The other major regulatory bodies which is available within the country is the Reserve Bank of India, the Small Industries Development Bank of India, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, National Housing Bank, Forward Market Commission, Association of Mutual Funds in India, and Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. So we'll take up the remaining part one by one. So first let's go to Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India is considered to be the central bank of the country. So central bank means the bank which funds the government, the bank which regulates the remaining banks which is available within the country. So all the rules and regulations are framed by RBI, and these are followed by all the other financial institutions which are functioning within India. It also manages the credit supply and regulates the bank operations. So what do you mean by credit supply? It talks about the money supply which is circulated within the economy. So whenever there is either inflation or deflation, the RBI may give guidelines to the banks to increase or decrease the lending rates. Whenever the lending rate increases, the loan amount might come down. So in that way, they try to manage the whole thing. So it depends on the situation required. Accordingly, the Reserve Bank of India may give instructions to the banks, and it tries to manage the credit supply within the economy. That is one thing. And the banking operations, it says, talks about the ATMs which has to function, what is the face value of the currency which is available in ATMs, all these things and normal functioning bank timings and all those things are being governed by the Reserve Bank of India. And this is having an important role to play in ensuring price stability within the country. Why price stability? Because RBI is the major bank which talks about how much currency has to be circulated within the economy, and the circulation of currency within the economy is going to talk about the price stability prevailing within the economy. So that is why it is considered to be a governing body which ensures price stability in the economy. And it stabilizes the currency value. So currency value, in my first lecture, in the second module, I have talked about foreign exchange things. So foreign exchange here, it says that what should be the exchange rate between $1 to rupees. Okay, so this is determined based upon the demand and supply of dollar in the market, and it is not directly dependent upon Indian rupees. So let us assume that this is 85 rupees. Now, when this changes to 84 rupees, it is again governed by the demand and supply of dollar which is prevailing. So accordingly, the Reserve Bank can take a note to say that we purchase and keep dollar so that the price stabilizes and then sell it in the open market, or we sell rupees at a faster rate so that the rate comes down or the value of rupee comes down, which means depreciation of rupee happens, and accordingly the rate will increase in the open market. So either I purchase the foreign currency or I sell the domestic currency. So in such a manner, the value of currency is also determined by Reserve Bank of India. And the monetary policy, I told you, the circulation which is there within the country is being governed by Reserve Bank of India. It also takes care of the other banks like SBI, you have Federal Bank, you have HDFC. So it supervises the other banks. So in this, when we are talking about other banks, you have scheduled and non-scheduled banks, you have various classifications, you have commercial banks which can be part of it, then you have NBFCs which are part of it, and other financial intermediaries who take part in the whole process. So all these are governed by the rules and regulations put forward by Reserve Bank of India. RBI also acts as a banker to the government. So whenever government requires money, on behalf of the government, RBI can raise money from the market and give it to the government, or the government can get money in the form of bonuses or dividends which the RBI earns. So it acts as a banker to the government. It also helps in managing the government's transactions. So when huge projects come into the picture, they try to manage the government transactions. As of now, you will find that there is a system called PFMS being implemented. So this is a transaction system which is governed by RBI. It also issues government securities. So as I told you, whenever government requires money, the RBI can issue treasury bills. So treasury bills are issued by RBI, and it is purchased by the financial institutions at a discount. And as I told you in my first lecture, the interest rate or the risk-free interest rate is being identified by the treasury rate or the margin which is available. Based on that, it is determined. And it also helps in maintaining the government accounts. So various steps are taken by the government of late, and one of the system through which government is managing government's account is through a Samarth portal. There is a portal which all the transaction of individual employees or organization is being governed through Samarth portal, so that it becomes a one set platform from where you can identify where it is spent, how it is spent, who spent it. All these details can be retrieved from it. The next is SIDBI. So SIDBI is the short form of Small Industries Development Bank of India. It was set up in 1990 by an enactment in the Indian Parliament, and though this cannot be directly considered as a regulatory authority, but still the idea behind setting up SIDBI was to act as a principal financial institution for MSMEs. So even now, if you look at any funds which the government announces and it has to reach to MSME, it is directed through SIDBI. Okay, so the primary function of Small Industries Development Corporation is to help MSMEs in their various functional aspects. It could range from long-term to short-term requirements. So long-term, it talks about the capital investments which has to be made in these organizations. So you can get loans or any other facility for setting up machinery and other aspects. So it is considered to be long-term. Short-term, it talks about working capital loans and other facilities which is required by these organizations. So it is taking care of all these things. So in order to support this MSMEs, they have various loans which is directed towards it. One of it is the machinery loan, which I told you, it is a long-term investment. You can call it as a capital investment. So if suppose some machinery has to be purchased, in that case, I can go in for a loan with some margin money to be taken up by the organization which is part of MSME, and the remaining could be received as a loan for setting up machinery. And you will be eligible for purchasing new machinery based on the depreciation value and after a particular period of time. So here it provides help in this particular aspect. The next is green finance loan. So green finance loan, in the recent past, you might have heard about something what is called as carbon credit. What do you mean by carbon credit? So if suppose I am going to reduce the emission of gases, then I can earn credits and keep it with me. Okay, so let us assume that I have converted my power plant from coal to, let us assume, solar. Okay, I am into power transmission. I have transferred my operations from coal to solar. So now how do I calculate the carbon credit? So when the coal was used, how much emission was being done by my company, that is calculated, and based on this emission, I say that my carbon emission or my emission of gases has reduced by, say, 90%. So for this reduction in emission of gases of 90%, I get certain credit. Let us assume for 90% I will be getting 3 credits. Like that, I can continuously accumulate this carbon credits and I can sell it in the open market. Okay, I can sell it in the open market, or I can use this for getting loan purpose. So that is considered to be a part of green finance loan. Other than that, you can also have loans for setting up solar plants, windmills, right, and anything of that nature, hydroelectric. So all these things. For that I can get loans. Anything which is considered to be part of green finance is considered to be available, or it could be purchased on loan, and that is considered to be part of green finance loan. Next is project loan. So here when I am talking about project loan, this is for a specific project. When I am talking about machinery, when I am talking about green finance, it is for the organization as a whole, MSME as a whole. Here I am talking about a project loan. So let us assume that I already have a company which is part of MSME and I want a loan for a project to be completed in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so I consider this to be a separate project and I submit this project proposal to SIDBI. They verify it, and for this exclusive project in Himachal Pradesh, they can give me loan. And this loan can include machinery loan, it can include working capital loan or anything of that sort. It can be a combination of all the others. So likewise, I can convert separate projects and I can identify how it can be funded. So this is taken care by SEBI again, and working capital, I told you, it is short-term finances, and this is for the day-to-day functioning of the organization. Okay, and for purchase of raw materials, for spending on warehouses, all these things are part of working capital loans. Accounts receivable, all those things will become part of it. The next regulatory authority which we have to discuss is the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It's otherwise called the MCA. So this is the ministry. It is more of a ministry rather than a regulatory authority. So this is the ministry which takes care of the corporate affairs as such. So whenever any company is registered, it has to be registered with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So why a single portal? Because it brings about transparency, right? It brings about transparency, it brings about accountability, who is holding it, where the company is being situated, who are the shareholders, what is the extent of shareholding. All these things are mentioned in the website. So Ministry of Corporate Affairs website will provide information whenever any company is set up within the country, which has to be registered as per law. So if you look into the types of organization, anything beyond LLP, will become part of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. That is, here you have private limited company and public limited company. Okay, so these two, whenever it is registered, it becomes part of the information available on Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So what does this ministry do? It actually regulates the functioning of industrial and service sector. So all rules and regulations which has to be followed by this industry and service sector is being put up by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs from time to time, and it has to be abided by all these organizations. It also helps in the analysis of various companies. So it can be a comparative analysis, or it could be an analysis of individual company. How you can do it? Because all the companies which are registered in this particular MCA will have to upload their annual reports, and this annual report becomes a public document, and this public document can be used for doing financial analysis, and I can also do the financial analysis and make a comparative analysis of similar companies within the industry to find out where I stand before either taking an investment decision or for the company itself, in order to see where they have to improve in its performance based on the industry, how it is performing. The company also takes care of the Competition Act. So it's called the CCI, right? So in order to reduce monopoly, what happens in monopoly? If one company is given full control over a particular industry, let us assume that insurance is totally taken care of by LIC. Now what will happen? Whatever LIC decide will become the rule over there in the insurance sector. So this should not happen. So in order to prevent such things, you have a Competition Act 2002, which says that in order to reduce the malpractices and to safeguard the interest of participants, it is there. So let's assume any FMCG product, if it is totally owned by one company, what happens is whatever the company fixes to be the price will be the price the consumers has to pay. So it should not happen. So there should be equal competition. So that is how you can do it. So MCA takes care of the Competition Act, and it also helps in safeguarding the interest of stakeholders. So when we talk about stakeholders, who are the stakeholders in a company? It could be shareholders of the company, it could be employees within the organization, it could be consumers who purchase the goods from the manufactured by these companies. So the MCA regulates what has to be taken care by shareholders. So this is communicated to the SEBI, and SEBI would make it as a rule over there. For employees within the organization, what has to be followed? Say for example, it says that if you have employees more than 7, you have to provide provident fund. So like that, whatever rules are there for employees, this is taken care. The crush facility which has to be given, this is again provided by MCA. So like that, it gives rules and regulations to the employees. Then to the consumers, what safety measure? Jago Bharat. Tagline used to go. This is also issued by MCA. Okay, and it takes care of the corporate governance norms. So it says that whenever you make profit, at least 2% of the profit has to be set aside for corporate social responsibility. So corporate social responsibility means it should be used for purposes which can give benefit at mass. Okay, so you can take the example of, say, let us take Tata for example. Tata maintains park. Tata maintains hospitals for its employees, schools for its employees, Like that you have n number of facilities which are provided. Where do they get money for all these? It is coming from this CSR, tree plantation, park maintenance, hospital maintenance, all these things come from there. Okay, so the main business is not this. This is maintained from the main business of Tata, that is 2% of the profit is transferred for these purposes. Okay, and they act as a custodian of corporate data, as I told you. Whoever is getting registered in the MCA in private limited or public limited, all the data is available over there, and that is why if I want to search about any particular company, I can directly go to the MCA website and it tells me how, where it is located, who owns it, and all the other details which is related to it. The next regulatory authority which has an influence in the capital market is the PFRDA, that is called the Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority. So this is again a very important regulatory authority which regulates and promotes pension related activities. So you have various insurance policy which is pension related. So somewhere or the other, apart from the IRDAI, even the PFRDA has control over it. So it talks about how much return has to be given, in what type of instruments it has to invest, what should be the lock-in period. So like that you have n number of issues which comes with such funds which is available, and it is regulated by PFRDA. And one of the best example of PFRDA overseeing is the NPS. So from the OPS you shifted to NPS, and now you have UPS in picture. So all these are governed by the PFRDA as such. So what does this PFRDA actually do? It talks about how the funds has to be regulated. It talks about own the fund till the time it is transferred to the actual beneficiary. So every month pension funds are collected, who would be the custodian of it, and what are the entities in which it would be invested, and in the process of investing, who would be involved in it. It could be brokers, it could be any other agencies who are part of it, or it could be a bank, any individual who can be part of called as entities in between the custodian and the end result can be part of the regulatory aspect of PFRDA. And it also talks about increasing the pension coverage, where the Pradhan Mantri Pension Yojana, which is launched of late after 2015, you will find it is again governed by PFRDA, where it says that you invest 1,000 rupees after the age of 50, you would get a pension of 5,000 rupees till the age of 80, right? So like that, many pension funds are available. So that is also governed by PFRDA. You have the other health insurance policy, which is again having a link between IRDA and PFRDA. So any insurance which has to be provided after the pensionary age of 60 would be taken care by PFRDA. Okay, and it also tries to maintain a good environment or ecosystem within the country, and people have trust in the pension funds, and they have benefit in terms of having a secure future and other things as part of the regulatory aspect of PFRDA. You have National Banking Housing Bank, you call it as NHB. This is again another regulatory authority which is participating in the financial market. It is a regulatory authority for housing finance sector. It was established in 1988 as a subsidiary of RBI directly. So it is responsible to answer only to RBI. And what does this NHB do? It actually takes care of all those companies which are dealing with housing finance, makes rules and regulations accordingly. Say for example, you have LIC Housing. So LIC Housing borrows the rules and regulations which is framed by NHB. Okay, so like that, any such organization which is dealing with such activities is regulated by NHB and rules and regulations by it, and it also helps in the development of the housing finance market. So this is another important area in which India has been progressing of late, where it says that you should have rural house scheme, right? So within the country, you will find that loans are being provided at, or houses are being constructed at subsidized rate for every individual who is there within the country. So हर आदमी के ऊपर छत होना चाहिए. That is something which is being implemented through NHB, and it also takes care of institutions which are dealing with housing finance. It talks about the policies, the regulations, the strategies, and how to improve the housing finance sector. So here there are various things which talks regarding the interest rate which is prevailing in the market, what should be the margin money which has to be given for loans, then what is the maximum limit in financing could be done, right? So all these things are taken care of it, and the ultimate aim of NHB is affordable housing for all. So bring the interest rate lower to an extent how much ever possible, provide maximum loan at affordable rate and transparent loan. That's more important. This is Forward Market Commission, which is not available right now. It has been merged with SEBI in 2021. So the proposal was put up in 2015, and the total process of merging has been completed in 2021. So what does this particular regulatory authority doing? They were taking care of commodities, right? So they were taking care of commodity trading, and in the commodity market, it is mostly dealing with derivatives. Okay, so within derivatives, you have various categories. You have forward, you have futures, you have swaps, you have options. So all these things are dealt with in this particular market, and commodities means it could be crude oil, it could be potato, it could be soya, anything of that sort. So any commodity. So all these things were earlier governed by FMC, and now it has become part of SEBI because it is considered to be part of the exchange. So you have multi-commodity exchange now being governed by SEBI. Okay, and this was an important organization which was governing the commodity futures market, because the prices of commodities, if you're going to look at inflation and other things, the wholesale prices and other things, it is being governed by commodities. So in order to bring the prices under control, FMC used to frame rules and regulations so that inflation is kept under control and all the indexes and other things are according to the requirement of the interest of the common public. Okay, and in that manner, it is going to help the investor protection, risk management as part of the activities, and market development is another part. So if I want to sell potato from Uttar Pradesh, anyone throughout the world can purchase my potato. Only thing is, they'll tell me, I'll tell them that this is the time when potato is available with me and what is the quantity which is available with me, and whoever wants to purchase it at that particular point of time and at that particular quantity, they can purchase it. Okay, and the ultimate aim of any of the regulatory authority is to take care of the trade practices and the transparency and market integrity, which is also a part of the FMC rules and regulations. Okay, and now all the other activities is as per SEBI guidelines. So this is merged with the SEBI guidelines. Right now it is not available. Then you have AMFI. This takes care of the regulatory activities in mutual fund sector. Okay, so as the name suggests, mutual fund, it is funds collected from individuals, small amount of funds collected from small individuals who have a mutual consent to invest in big stock. Okay, so let us assume that I have 100 rupees which can be saved. I say that in 100 rupees it is not possible for me to own one share of Reliance. So what I do is, I start collecting 100 rupees from different persons. Now I have 1000 rupees with me, and this 1000 rupees which these persons collect would be invested in mutually agreed stocks wherever it is. I am agreeing to purchase Reliance, it goes to Reliance. I can put this 1000 rupees in energy sector, it goes to energy sector. So that's what you call as mutual funds. So all these activities are regulated by mutual funds. How the mutual funds actually function? They have something called an asset management company, which is registered as a trust. So whenever money is collected, that is considered to be the asset for these organizations, and they actually decide as to whether it is blue chip fund or whether it is a infrastructure fund or whatever it is. So accordingly they would be investing. So they have a team, and that is regulated by AMFI. Okay, it also helps in investor education. It also talks about having a standard practice within the mutual fund sector, and ethical way of doing businesses within mutual funds is also taken care of it. It is closely related with SEBI, because most of the regulatory authorities are framed by SEBI, and then it is adopted by AMFI for the mutual fund sector as such. And the basic objective is to govern the mutual fund industry, as I told you, others being the same. The last one within the regulatory aspect is the IBBI, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. This was established in 2016, and the reason for setting up is to resolve issues related to insolvency and bankruptcy. So of late you might have seen most of the organizations like Jet Airways, then Reliance, and some organization which has even Videocon. So these are some organization which has gone through the IBBI process of insolvency and bankruptcy. And the reason why it should be time bound is because these organizations would be taking loans or getting investment from public at large or from financial institutions. So if they are not able to repay it on time, then it becomes a difficult task. So this particular board actually takes care of time-bound resolution of this, so that whoever is given credit to the organizations get it back on time. So that's one of the reasons why it was set up. And the reason why it was required is that there was a need for regulating the insolvency practitioners. So as you have CA, or as you have the company secretaries and other things, similarly you have practitioners who are involved in this particular activity, who actually takes care of valuation and other things, and says that in a professional manner how much has to be charged, how it has to be done, and what information has to be provided. So this is done by IBBI. And over the years, you will find that this has changed the way the world is looking at India, because they feel that in case there is any problem with carrying out business within the economy, and they are unable to repay the loans or debt or any of those aspects, then they have a provision to go to IBBI and consider them as part of insolvency and come out of the whole process. So it's a win-win situation for both organization as well as provided credit to them. And in the whole process, there is transparency. There is a timeline which is fixed within which new investors could be identified who will invest money, what will be the form of investing money in this organization. All these things would be decided, and professionalism is maintained in the whole process. Okay, and they also take care of going in for capacity building activities, where time to time training is being provided to the practitioners and all those things, and helping out the CAs have certification courses, CS having certification courses, who take care in insolvency and bankruptcy activities of the company that is being done, and they strengthen the whole framework as such. So these were some of the organizations which has an active role to play in the financial market, and I have discussed around 10 of them in my previous two lectures, and the readings as it is available in published books and in research articles as well. Okay, I think you can take care of all these readings and make your investment decision to be better. Thank you.